All apples are harvested within a 2-week window here in Australia. Now, if they're picked within 2 weeks, are they good for the entire year? Hey guys, I'm Tan, the fruit nerd, and I'm here talking about apples. So, how do we pick a great apple? Well, growers have already picked an apple at its optimal moment of harvest, which means that the apple can store for the longest period and it's at an acceptable level of sweetness and crunch for you to eat. So you really don't need to do anything. Now, apples are available all year round, but actually all apples are harvested within a 2-week window here in Australia over March and April. So if you're after the greatest crunch, March and April are the best times of the year to eat a freshly picked new season apple. So how do you store an apple? Well, storing them in the fridge is the best option because the colder the apple is, the longer it will keep. Now, I like to put my apple in the crisper. Just try not to put too many other fruits that will ripen quickly in the crisper as well, because the apple is going to release ethylene and affect them. But if you don't have many other fruits in your fridge, just leave them anywhere in the fridge and it's the best way to store an apple. So here's how you pick a tree-ripened FUJI apple. So as the apple flowers and grows on the tree, it starts off blooming like this, and as it grows vertically and then horizontally. And as the apple grows really mature, it develops some really complex flavors. But how do you know which one is tree ripened and how do you know which one is picked a little bit earlier? Well, the base of the FUJI apple actually flattens as it grows more mature because it expands sideways. So you can see here with these two apples, this one is a little bit more longer and elongated and taller, and this one is a little bit more plump and sideways. But if you look at the bottoms, these ones have a little bit more of a ridge, a little bit more hilly, and these ones are flat. So you know this one is going to be tree ripened, it's going to have a bit more complex flavor, it's going to be a little bit more sugary and sweet than this apple here. So that's how you pick a perfectly tree-ripened FUJI apple. This fruit nerd tip was told to me by a FUJI apple grower, and it is only relevant for the FUJI apple. It's not relevant to other apples like the Royal Gala or the Granny Smith, so use it wisely. So how are apples stored for almost an entire year? Well, they're placed in a room like this one right here, and the doors are closed and the atmosphere has changed so that there's less oxygen in the air. There's usually a carbon capture because apples are releasing carbon and gas, and there's another type of element that's put in the air like nitrogen to keep it stored for much longer. And that's how you can eat apples all year round. In Australia, we love to have apples that are crunchy, that have a bite to them, but in some parts of Asia, like say Japan or China, apples are actually preferred to have a soft skin because they prefer a really light crunch and a very juicy, sweet texture. So it's fascinating how different cultures prefer different types of textures in fruit. At first glance, these two Japanese variety apples look very different, but actually they're the same apple grown in the exact same orchard, but with two different methods. Now this FUJI apple has been able to see the sun for about 2 months, and that photosynthesis has changed the color of the apple red, and that has changed the flavor of the skin. Whilst this apple, the same apple grown in the same orchard, has had a brown paper bag enclosed in it, and these apples aren't wax. So this skin is super thin, there's no photosynthesis because it's been blocked from the sunlight, so it's still albino in color, it's white, and if you could smell it, it is so floral. And it's got a different texture and flavor, and it's all because of a different technique. So now you know more about apples. I hope you appreciate how apples get from the orchard to your home.